lined up the top stars from Hollywood and from all over the world to entertain you on a giant screen with the few colorful motion pictures you've been hearing about and reading
It's
about.
showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
We're delighted to have you with us. The Drive-In Theater.
You'll find something to please you to add to your evening's enjoyment.
Is pleased to bring you our feature presentation.
It's showtime.
Oh, what's up, dudes?
Hey!
We're here. We have made it. We're back. Oh, man, we have already got comments in the screen. Hang on just a second. Let's do our intros. This is the Drive-In Speakerbox, the best in film scores, soundtracks, movie news, and everything in between. Right here, broadcasting live on many, many outlets. You can check us out on our Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and our... what is our podcast on all the podcast things? Your Google Pods and your Apple Pods and your P Pods and your all that stuff. You can podcast it. But we're gonna be talking about movies tonight. I did not get a chance to see a movie in theaters this week, but the Grip did.
Yep. I watched Lion King redubbed, re-recorded.
It's cool because we can talk about. I've seen Lion King before. I saw it a long time ago, and so I think we can both share opinions about this movie because we've both seen it.
Yeah. So can anyone for the last 25
and can we
years.
Stop calling it the live action, please?
Yeah. Who were you people that were doing that to begin with? CG.
Yeah, it's computer generated animation, guys. All right, I'm gonna have to.
So what's this? Vince says that Avengers finally took that #1 spot from Avatar because I'm sure that everyone at San Diego Comic-Con was offered a chance to watch it, and so you had thousands and thousands of people that were.
Yeah, it made another 1.5 million at the box office this past weekend, putting it at the number 11 place, which we would not normally talk about since it's not in the top 10, but. It made it, so Disney's like, guess what? We're the #1 movie broadcast in the world because and they're going to be pounding that into our heads for the foreseeable future, and it's going to be the follow-up to the world's most money-making money on the money. And Disney stock is going through the roof. Lion King had the biggest opening of a Disney reboot CGI on a Tuesday afternoon in July when it was 90 degrees outside. It broke that record. So they're just out there breaking records. All the records, just breaking them because that's how we measure success. Breaking records, not quality content, just breaking records. And these movies are starting to sound like broken records, and we're gonna be talking a little bit about the broken record that is Lion King. So yeah, as Vince said on YouTube, he goes, "I hate a movie that makes me feel like I should stick up for Avatar," and I kind of went on a little tangent about that last week. Yeah, kind of sticking up for Avatar, not because Avatar's a great movie, because it was doing something interesting and unique, not just like making a buck.
Let's. I mean, say unique about Avatar.
No, I'm talking about in terms of filmmaking, like what it did, what it lended to cinema. You don't remember me talking about this? They invented cameras for this. They basically 3D happened.
That's just James Cameron movies, man.
Exactly.
Because it's like, oh, Cameron's making a movie. Let's invent technology. He wants to go deep into the sea. Submarine time. You helped design it, James Cameron, because as a child you loved the sea and wanted to be a marine biologist, and you love everything about the ocean. Sick.
Yo, dude, Abyss, Titanic, let's get on down there. Let's see what that ocean floor looked like. Maybe there is goo Mercury aliens. They tried to find them, but then they couldn't, and then they found the Titanic. He did more for the study of the Titanic than anybody else. I'm pretty sure. Like,
James Cameron does some sick stuff because he's like, I want to make a sick movie, and everyone's like, well, you can't. That's impossible. And he's like, oh yeah,
Watch me
look at my doodle. Look, make it happen. You're welcome, science.
Get a Harrier jet on a crane and let's fly a helicopter into it. Like, that's what we need to do because I'm James Cameron.
Let's fly a helicopter under a bridge. Can't do that. That's not safe.
You can't even do that anymore.
I'll do it myself. I'm James Cameron.
Yeah, you can't do that anymore. But he was like doing it. So anyway, Avengers did that.
Dude, speaking of it, McLean says probably how Hamlet was when it debuted 500 years ago. Well, guess what is Hamlet? The Lion King. It is Hamlet. So
it's debuting
there
again
it is.
500 years later in theaters near you. Yeah, there you go. 25 years in between. We're just going to get a new one every 20 years. Actually, you know what? We're not. We're going to get, now that they've got on the train of it, we are in a time where there is in the theaters at the same time. It is like the 90s in the theater. You have Lion King and Aladdin in the theater at the same time as a Men in Black and a Toy Story movie. Like, what's going on here, you guys? Anyway, shout outs to Dina out here watching this on her cash register at work. Like, wow, that is awesome. Shout outs to Dina, who is still existing in the 90s because she works at the Northwest Arkansas Mall. Shout outs to the mall, which is still a thing. And the savior of Stranger Things season 3 was a mall. Like, malls, I don't want to go too far down the mall rabbit hole, but I worked in a mall, and I like mall culture back then was the jam, and it's sad that it's going away. We're gonna hey, just because you aren't into it doesn't mean it doesn't have value.
I mean, Commando had a sweet mall scene. Chopping Mall's a cool movie.
True Lies had a good mall scene.
What? There was no mall in True Lies.
Is that the one where he had the horse and he ran the horse through the mall? Or was that Last Action Hero?
No, he rode a horse in True Lies, but it wasn't through a mall, it was through a hotel.
Oh, well, close enough. They all look the same. Jingle All the Way. How about that? We'll just shift it over.
Another Schwarzenegger, yeah.
We'll just shift Schwarzenegger movies in a mall.
Weird Science. Fast Times.
Classic mall scenes. Mall Rats. Blues Brothers. Yeah, dude, we've got
Blues Brothers drove cars through
the mall.
Strip malls. You got Jumanji.
We're not doing strip malls are different. Strip malls still exist.
Can we get rid of malls? Outdoor malls are a thing.
Yeah, I mean
we have them
everywhere. Yeah, but anyway, that's all we're talking about today. We're gonna try to not talk too much about ComicCon because that's what everybody was talking about this week. ComicCon is basically Marvel Fest now. They did like a little bit of Star Wars news, and then they did a little bit of DC news with the rated R trailer to the new Harley Quinn show, and they did a whole girls, power girls panel, and everything's girls now, as we kind of predicted here on the show. And you know, if you watch the show regularly, you know we don't care about like what gender is playing who, diversity. Great, it's a part of our life. But when you get too heavy-handed and reckless with it, it's almost like affirmative action for filmmaking. And we can all sit here and agree that affirmative action was kind of a bad way to handle that problem. And
I'm not touching any of this.
No, I mean, you just Google it. Like, we've all kind of come to terms with like that was not a really great way to handle in trying to make diversity a real thing. And I feel like this is what's happening with some of these new franchises. They're not even thinking about like, I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's just like, let's just hammer it in as far and as hard as we can without it being organic and natural. Like, that's one of the reasons I thought season 3 of Stranger Things, like some of its strong points was its diversity and inclusivity was handled so naturally to where you didn't feel like you're just being preached at with some stupid message that a corporate person doesn't actually give any shits about the message. They're like, well, this is what's going to make money and we don't want to get yelled at on Twitter. And so they're going to hammer it in to make sure it's like, everybody's cool because we're doing the thing. Like, just tell the stories. Like, and you just tell these stories and let them happen and include characters that are natural. You don't have to be like, well, guess what? Thor's a girl now. Yeah, here it is. Hammer time. Stop it. No boys allowed. And
I thought about that the other day because we had talked about something similar on the show, and I saw this thing for the new Marvel Ultimate Alliance video game where Miss Marvel, the new Captain Marvel, was front and center on the game cover and everything, and that's a whole new recent development with this movie and dumb comics and all of that. And when I was a kid, you know who I thought was cool? Rogue. Psylocke,
Dude, yeah.
Jean Grey, but no one was like, they're cool because we tell you they're cool and we're going to force you to think they're
No,
cool.
Rogue was awesome because Rogue was awesome.
Yeah.
Storm was
And
awesome because Storm was awesome.
It was organic and no one made it like a big, huge, like, hey,
Dude,
suck on this one for a while.
Professor
thing.
X was like the biggest BA in the history of comics, and in a wheelchair. It wasn't like they wheeled him out and he did a wheel and goes, "I'm wheelchair guy. Did you notice? Wheelchair. All my disabled peeps stand up." Like, no, it was
What?
But you know what I'm saying? Because that's how off the mark they are with that message. It's like, no, here's a story about this guy, and look, he is incredible and he does these amazing things, and you get lost in this character because just like any of us that have friends that look different or have handicaps or whatever, they're your friends, and you don't look at that as like a selling point, like, I better be friends with him because, you know, whatever. It just happens organically because that's how life is. And yeah, I don't respect sound levels because I actually do respect sound levels. Vince, thank you very much in the comments there. You have no idea how much I have to tone down the volume of my voice on a day-to-day basis because I'm the loudest dude on the planet. And that is my superpower. I'm super loud. This we can always tell
Like Banshee?
when I'm drunk is like, no, like I could stand back here and just readjust and then I have to come down here and make it soft. And
I can tell because I start getting hit.
well, oh, when I'm drinking? Yeah, as I start punching you in the shoulder. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. Didn't Captain Marvel like become evil for a while? Wasn't that like a thing? I can't remember. I don't remember. I
Like the real Captain Marvel?
I want to say
or
no.
the current?
The girl, Captain Marvel.
I don't know.
I think there was a storyline where she was enemy number one of the universe, and I wonder how that's going to play out because you've seen in certain media where it's like Game of Thrones. Let's go back to Game of Thrones. You create this like very strong, powerful female character that a lot of people rally behind, and then she does something bad, and then the entire community's like, well, no, you can't do that because I thought she was awesome, and I don't want to be a fan of someone who would murder babies. And it's like, guess what? We're all fucked up. And she made a bad decision because she was polluted with power, just like people do when they're polluted with power. That's the story we're telling, and it doesn't have anything to do with what's dangling or not dangling betwixt her legs. It's the story about people with power. And they're like, no, but we liked her, and she was a strong female character, and we can't have that happening. And, and so how, we can't... that's a rabbit hole that I didn't want to go down, but we did. And I'm going to stop it. I'm going to put a halt to it right now. I'm going to halt to it right now. We're going to talk about more stuff that happened in the news. Marvel announced the next 75 years of movies at ComicCon. We got everyone has a movie now or a TV show. We've got, and they're even doing an animated show called What If? Marvel What If.
Oh, dude, but What If was always tight, man.
Yeah, but they're going to do an animated show of it now. And it's going to be what if everyone was, a minority or a girl or in a wheelchair or fought Thanos' butt. Like, it's going to be insane. No, it is. It is. Don't be afraid to speak. Like, let's call it out.
The what if stories were always pretty cool. You get some.
We're gonna get Ant-Man and Thanos' butt. That's what we're gonna get.
That's not gonna be
one. That's gonna be episode 1. Mark my words.
They did a what if comic way back where it's like, what if General Ross had suffered the gamma bomb instead of Bruce Banner, and he became the Hulk. And then now you have the Red Hulk, which is General Ross. And some of the what ifs would find their way into later Marvel tellings because everyone's like, oh, that's a cool idea. Let's find a way to ruin comics with that. And they always would.
Yeah, so the what if, and this is the thing that the old boom operator's prediction is going to be, is they're going to use the what ifs to experiment, test market crazy ideas that they want to change from their original comics. And they're like, let's it's going to be Spitball, the show, and if it sticks, then they're going to make movies out of it, and that's going to be their test market. It's just a humongous test market that they deliver to you, and you willingly participate in without kind of consent, really.
Yeah. So instead of what if, it'll become what is.
Mm-hmm. But they've announced every Hawkeye show, Falcon show, the new Black Widow movie, the Doctor Strange, some more Strange Happenings, the movie, Girl Thor. What else got dropped? There was like 20 million.
Another Guardians, Eternals.
The Eternals, who nobody wants that.
Yep. Every Black Panther.
Yep.
Every movie they announced except for Spider-Man is like a series or character that's never been able to carry a series for long at all.
They need Spider-Man.
That's what they're hoping carries on their stupid movies.
And they're even teasing about doing a Fantastic Four, bringing Fantastic Four back, and Fantastic Four's never going to work.
Well, that's kind of dumb now that the
never
Infinity
gonna work.
Gauntlet's not a thing that anyone needs to worry about anymore. Because it's like, oh, Reed Richards, we're so glad that the world's greatest brain is here. And you brought Franklin, who can alter reality with his mind. We don't need you anymore, so...
Yep.
Oh, Galactus is here? Don't worry. We already took care of the Infinity Gauntlet on our own with like 4 people instead of 500 like in the comic book. Also, we had this whole Civil War with 7 guys instead of thousands. So, no need. Oh, and the Skrull invasion? It was just 2 dudes who we misunderstood, and it turns out they're our friends now.
And they're comic relief.
No need for you, Reed Richards, with your massive brain and all of the Fantastic Four stories that created the entire Marvel universe. Don't need you anymore.
Psych, we wrote you out.
Yeah.
Vince over on YouTube says, to be honest, I'm surprised that Natalie Portman came back. I'm not, because cash money.
Her kid's old enough now that she can be away and make all the money and not
She
care.
could cash money. She'd be a fool not to come back. To be honest, I'm surprised she hasn't already. Yeah, cash money. Anyway, what else? What else do we need to talk about? Did you see the Mr. Rogers movie, The Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood trailer with Tom Hanks playing Mr. Rogers?
I did.
I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah, there were parts of it where I was like, I don't know if Tom Hanks can pull this off. And then there was a part of it where he kind of sounded like Forrest Gump. But then there was the end of it where I was like, I feel some emotion here because I, too, was a child at one point in time.
I just think that everybody needs to watch the Mr. Rogers documentary instead. Like, that movie was... You want to start crying about, like, the state of humanity and the fact that everyone's a child and deserves to have an imagination. You're gonna cry, and it's amazing and it's heartwarming. And I don't know. I think this movie only happened because the success of that documentary, and they're like, well, let's slap Tom Hanks on it and make a bunch of money.
Well, but everyone loves Tom Hanks.
Exactly.
And everyone loves Mr. Rogers.
Double love.
Also,
our new Pornhub channel tonight. I knew it was going to happen organically. There it is. Double love.
Dude, no, this is wholesome. We're talking about wholesome things right now.
Yeah, double love. It could be wholesome. Anyway, so I saw the trailer today. I thought that was pretty neat. The Top Gun trailer.
Yo, did you watch it when I sent it to you? Had you seen it before I sent it?
It was mostly clips from the old movie, though. Did you
no,
not
it
notice
wasn't.
that?
It was
Yes.
clips from the new movie with old Tom Cruise in it.
But there was clips from the old movie. I'm pretty sure I saw some clips from the old movie.
Well, the old movie, they actually used footage provided to them by the Air Force, and they got special permissions to fly and film with them for that movie. What's that? Oh, yeah, yeah. Dude, I watched that, and I like the premise. They're like, you're just so old, and you should be a general, and what's your deal with sticking around? He's like, gotta fly, bro.
It's like, money should have been his answer.
Yeah, because it's like, wait, how come you aren't a general? And Tom Cruise was like, because I feel the need.
No, his answer was, I guess it's one of life's mysteries. And it's like, no, that was legit his answer. No,
it's because he
It's
feels
because
the
money.
need.
That's why.
Oh, dude,
it's
the
because
need.
Nothing, and they just basically said, every fan out there would go, why on earth would Maverick still be flying planes 30 years?
Because he's shooting down MiGs. There's like rogue MiGs that have had unlimited jet fuel, and they're just up in the air forever, and no one knows. But Maverick's there to take them down.
And so they
Where was Iceman in this trailer?
Have you not seen him lately? and he's not looking good.
Maybe if they offered him some Top Gun money.
He's a general now at a desk. No, he's going to be in the movie. What? Yeah.
Sick.
They've cast old Val, and he's supposed, but he had throat cancer really, really, really bad.
What?
And yeah,
I hadn't heard that.
He had throat cancer, and there was The Snowman, I think, was the last movie that he appeared in, and they had Magneto. What's his name? The new Magneto. Come on, help me out. Anybody? Come on.
Irish guy.
Yes.
His name is actor McIrish.
See, I can't remember them all off the top of my head. Somebody's going to throw it in the comments.
German McIrish.
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
We know who you're talking about.
But yeah, so it was that movie The Snowman, which was not very good, by the way. I saw it in theaters. There's a review of it somewhere in our old podcast. But no,
not McAvoy. He's Scottish.
We're talking Magneto?
Yeah.
The old one.
No, the new one.
Not Ian McKellen. He's British. He's English.
Oh, Fassbender?
Yes,
Michael Fassbender. There it is.
Yeah, anyway, whatever. That movie. And so Val Kilmer was supposed to have a bigger part into that movie. And then, he had to have all the surgery and stuff. And he got a little bit of talk like this from Val Kilmer, like a throat full of racks. And it was really bad. And
he's always talked like that, bro. Have you never seen Real Science? You can't hardly understand a word he says in Real Science.
It's really bad. And, I mean, Google him. Can we bring up a picture of...
I don't want to be sad right now.
You're going to be sad.
No,
Get
we're
ready.
talking
You mentioned
Top Gun.
it.
Yo,
Val Kilmer.
Talking about James Cameron
2019.
and The Abyss. Old Ed, what's his name, was the...
Ed Harris?
Yeah, he was the colonel guy being like, why aren't you a general yet, dude?
He's like, I'm still in Westworld kicking ass. Yeah, see, Val not looking so hot these days. Poor Val.
Everyone ages, man. It's sad.
It is sad. Everyone's gonna die. Anyway, so, yeah. All right, let's see. Catching up on the YouTube comments, Dina says, seen some of the interviews in the last couple of years. He could barely talk. Yes, true. He's in really bad shape. I think maybe they'll do like a CGI face reconstruction, something or another. But anyway, I don't know. It's bad. Yeah. Other sequel reboot news. We were just talking about this off camera. I don't know how I feel about this because Kevin Smith to me is like... Sometimes I'm about it because, Clerks was good. I was about Clerks. I was about... I'm trying to think of all the other Kevin Smith movies that I was about. I didn't like Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back. Chasing Amy was pretty cool.
You liked Chasing Amy, but didn't like Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back.
It was too... See, Chasing Amy was not self-aware yet. And it got super self-aware. I mean, that movie was very, very, very 90s.
Wait. Stop. Do you see what I see?
Yeah, last Starfighter sequel was announced, yeah.
Why had I not heard about this?
I don't know. I thought you did.
No, I'm about to death blossom right here.
Well, keep it in your... Do you need a towel?
How does that dude laugh? No, like the lizard man?
Yeah, the turtle.
Just,
he was a turtle guy.
Breathes. Yeah, like that.
Turtle guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mallrats. We were just talking about Mallrats. I actually even like Cop Out a little bit, which he brought the great Harold Faltermeyer out of retirement to do the soundtrack to Cop Out because
to Tracy Morgan annoying the hell out of Bruce Willis.
Yeah, but it had Harold Faltermeyer. Buddy cop, you can't do a buddy cop without Harold Faltermeyer music. But anyway, so Jay and Silent Bob are apparently getting a take it away. Yeah, you tell us about it.
Oh, they're getting a reboot of Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back, where they're making fun of comic book reboot movies by rebooting their movie that was meant to be a movie about stopping a comic book being made about them. And now they're stopping the reboot of that comic book movie in their reboot.
It's so
crazy.
It's
funny.
Just meta.
When's the last time Kevin Smith made a decent movie, though?
Man, it's been a while. I'm trying to think
Jay and Silent Bob.
No, I'm trying to think of the name of this movie. I saw it in... I think it was called like Tusk. Hang on, let me see if I...
Not.
Yeah, Tusk was the last one that I saw. I never saw Yoga Hosers,
Oh,
which
that
I think
was the one
featured
I
his
was-
daughter.
Yeah, it was his daughter and someone else. I was trying to think of what the Hosers one
But
was.
Tusk was one of these movies that I just... Maybe I need to rewatch it. I don't know. But if you've never seen Tusk... the reason
Zach and Miri wasn't bad.
Yeah, I guess Second Mary wasn't. I forgot that he did that one. But Tusk, the only reason I went to go see Tusk was Michael Parks was starring in it, and I actually got to work with Michael Parks on a movie several years ago, and that dude is absolutely insane and actually a pretty good actor. He's very method, and every day on set he'd be like, "Bo, come over here, come real close," and I was like, "Yeah, what's up, Mr. Parks?" And he would be like, "Why don't you reach up under this towel and see if I got a burrito for you?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about? This is gross," because he was in a stretcher bed, and he would always tell, and he would make everybody on set
See if
super
I have
uncomfortable.
a burrito for you.
Well, because he was always talking about his dick on set.
Yeah, we gathered that.
But it was at first you're like, "What is wrong with this man?"
Did
But-
you grab a hold of his hog and you're
No,
like, well, that's
I
a
didn't.
small burrito?
'Cause I'd have to, because I was a sound guy, so I had to, lav packs
you
usually.
you
I had to just get it done.
Yeah, were you like, that's no burrito, that's a taquito at best.
Bruh. But no, because you have to run wires through in people's clothes and stuff.
Oh, yeah,
and so, but he stayed in character basically 80% of the time he was
Was that
on
his
set.
character was a dude that tried to get people to jerk him off?
He was a creepy, degenerate, drunk old man. And
he was method, huh?
And he was method all day. And so anyway, I watched Tusk and I was like, what the hell? Kevin Smith. And I also like Justin Long, but anyway. Yeah, funny me stories.
Actor asked me to jerk him off. Funny me stories.
Speaking of people whose hands I had down their pants, did you hear about Mahershala Ali?
As Blade.
As Blade. Yeah, I worked with him for a couple weeks on True Detective 3, and
what if Wesley Snipes just shows up and beats the hell out of him, like in real life, for taking that role?
I know he got Wesley's blessing, but we were talking about this at length last night. Not you and I, but me and the producer here at the Speaker Lab Studios. We were at the Faux Labs, and we were talking a lot about Blade, and my honest opinion is, I don't think Michael Jai White's getting too old.
What? No, Michael Jai White. Have you seen Michael Jai White recently?
No, he's awesome.
He's still Michael Jai White.
He is still Michael Jai White, and that would be my first pick. That would be my first pick for Blade, because then we could have
Spawn Blade,
the John Wick of Blades, which it needed to be all along. And you'd think that it would have been with Wesley Snipes, because he's actually a very talented martial artist.
Not as talented as Michael Jai White.
Exactly. But Mahershala Ali is a very good actor, and he's got the look, and he's got the intensity, but he's not a martial artist. And I feel like it's going to be like the Taken style of 16 cuts for him to hop a fence. Can we pull up that clip of...
We know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Don't ruin my movies.
Come on. Can we pull up the clip of...
pull up a clip of Michael Jai White teaching Kimbo Slice how to fight, and Kimbo Slice is like, "Oh damn." Oh, and Kimbo Slice,
and then gets dead.
Kimbo Slice is like, "How did you do that? You're an amazing fighter." And Michael Jai White's like, "Easy."
It's true, Michael Jai White's
have you
the
seen
dude.
that? Have you seen what I'm talking about? Yeah,
No,
right here.
This is not the clip I wanted to pull up.
No, but
this
this is
a
way cooler.
5-minute clip. God, look at Michael Jai White. He could totally be Blade.
Look, see, he's teaching Kimbo how to be a badass and super quick.
I want to be Michael Jai White when I grow up. Yeah, the people on the podcast don't know what the hell's going on. I need the Taken clip. Get rid of this. Turn this clip off.
Yeah, but you didn't see how fast Michael Jai White is. There.
He's the modern day Bruce Lee, dude. Well, not quite, but he's Black Belt Jones in real life.
I want to see Michael Jai White and Donnie Yen in a movie facing off against each other.
Oh, Donnie Yen.
Instead of Mike Tyson, I want to see Michael Jai White.
I'm about that.
Which movie?
No, we need to see that.
I need that. That's what I need. Yeah. Because in Ip Man 3, he fights Mike Tyson.
That was a pretty cool fight.
Yeah, but it would have been cooler if it was Michael Jai White being Spawn Fu.
Spawn Fu. Did we get the Taken clip? All right, we're over it. It's not even funny anymore. But anyway, so Yeah, Mahershala Ali. I don't, I think that the Blade film needs to be a martial arts film.
Is it going to be part of MCU, or is it?
It's from Marvel Studios, and I think they're going to try and incorporate it. I mean, they of course they're going to have to try and incorporate it. Everything has to be incorporated so they can use the other ones to market it.
Is this how they're bringing Morbius into Spider-Man? And
ooh, I didn't even think of that, but you're probably right. The Morbius movie is probably going to have a Blade cameo, which is going to lead into a Blade movie, which is going to tie into Spider-Man.
Wait,
which is going to.
Is Morbius having a solo movie before being incorporated into Spider-Man and Blade?
There's a solo movie. Did you not know that they?
No, that's just a dumb way to do it because no one knows who Morbius is.
Well, we all now know that Morbius is, what's his face? Man,
a pasty bat-faced man?
No, I'm just so bad with my names. What was that Yakuza movie that was on Netflix? The Joker that no one liked.
Jared Leto.
Jared Leto, yeah.
I have it in my list. I haven't watched
He's Morbius. Yeah. Did you not hear about that?
Leto?
Yeah, I thought we talked about it on the show several weeks ago.
I don't know if we had or not.
Anyways, so
taking Finn's joke.
But yeah, Jared Leto is going to be the new Morbius. I don't know if that's coming out.
All these actors keep hopping from DC to Marvel and back and forth.
Honestly, I never thought I'd say this as an adult, but thanks to Mr. Folabs over here, I've been leaning into the DC world a whole lot more lately. Yeah. And I gotta say that I've been pretty satisfied with what DC's been delivering content-wise.
You want me to totally ruin it for you?
Okay, fine.
Zur-N-R Batman.
I'm not going to watch that.
Yeah, look it up.
I'm not going to watch that. But I want that new Constantine. I need some more Constantine in my life. That's what I want. I want an animated Constantine show, not just a movie. I need more Justice League Dark because that was awesome.
With extra Swamp Thing in it because there was not enough Swamp Thing.
Or a season 2 of Swamp Thing. Can I just get some more Swamp Thing, please?
Can they just find somewhere that they can film and get a decent tax break and that aren't passing laws that put women in prison for controlling their own bodies, and then we can have more Swamp Thing? Is that what you're saying?
I just want more Swamp Thing. That's what I want. Anyway, so yeah, there we go. Let's we need to move on. We've been talking for a long time. We need to review that. We need to talk about movies that are coming out this week.
You reached under DC's towel and found
a burrito. I sure did. Yeah. Yeah, I need to watch Batman Hush. I hadn't seen that one yet. And the Batman Ninja Turtles team up, that was actually pretty good, man. That was a good time. But let's talk about what's coming out in theaters this week, because there is a new movie coming out. There's only one because guess what? Disney needs to make all the money. The Avengers Endgame will be leaving because it did what it needed to do. Lion King, Aladdin, and Toy Story are still soaking up all your cash money. And then for all of us other people all your friends that say, I'm really into films. I'm really into art films and films. I'm just, I'm more of a film connoisseur. Really like films, and so I cannot tell you how much I love Quentin Tarantino. What a film maker. And usually I want to slap the taste out of those people's mouths. Not that I don't like Quentin Tarantino. I think he's just fine.
I don't.
But we've got a new Quentin Tarantino movie that I actually do want to see. It's called Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Of course, you've probably seen it, heard the trailer, heard about Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie, a lot of ensemble who's who, normal, standard Quentin Tarantino stuff.
It was more interesting before they released the trailers that showed you that it was a Charles Manson story.
Right.
Like, it was way more interesting to me when it was like about an actor and his stunt double.
In the 1960s, Golden Age Hollywood.
But instead they're like, oh, but it's really about Manson.
Yeah, as soon as he gets introduced, I'm kind of like, ew. But I want to see this movie because Quentin Tarantino, say what you will about him, here's the thing with Quentin Tarantino: if he's a copycat, is what he is. He's an homage artist, and he does it very well. And so, a lot of people that aren't really familiar with the history of filmmaking or aren't real into films and art films like they say they are, they don't know this. But one of the things is, Quentin Tarantino's history, he was a lot like, I don't want to compare myself to Quentin Tarantino, but we have very similar filmmaking pedigrees. Like we both, when we were teenagers, worked in video stores, and we spent most of our youth watching weird VHS movies that we found, and all we did was sit at home by our loser selves, watching weird movies, watching foreign films, just watching whatever we got in like our hands on at the video store.
You also have the benefit of not being a weird-looking Canadian with a lisp.
This is true. And then we both dabbled in filmmaking. And so, he obviously went into a different path. I went into the sound world, and then he ended up directing. But what he did,
one more lucrative than the other.
Yeah, a little bit. But the thing that Quentin Tarantino does is he basically takes ideas from some of his favorite movies that he's watched of all time and tries to put his own spin on them. And your Jackie Brown, your Pulp Fiction, your Four Rooms, your True Romance, your Kill Bill is literally a nonsensical series of vignettes of martial arts movies that he liked. And he's like, I want to do all these scenes, and I don't really know how to turn it into a narrative, but I'm going to try.
What is it? What's the old 70s, like, famous kung fu, like Shaw Brothers or whatever?
Oh, yeah.
He's like, I'm going to take these.
All of these. Master of the Flying Guillotine.
Blonde white people.
Zatoichi, Lone Swordsman and Cub, like all of these famous series of films that, he just loved. And he made these movies based off of just scenes that he wanted to recreate, like the snow scene in Kill Bill. Like that's not his scene. Like the standoff scenes, like there's all sorts of old Italian spaghetti westerns that he steals from, and he just takes all of these things and he repackages them, and he makes actually really good, like, competent films. But they're not original. Not a single one of them's original. Django and Zorro team up, like, that's not original. He wants to do a Star Trek now because he's totally gives no F's anymore.
Well, I mean, no, neither does anyone that's in charge of Star Trek, right?
Right.
They released the extended trailer for the Picard series. Did you see that?
I did not.
I
heard about it, though.
Oh, can I tell you what's in it? Mm-hmm. 7 of 9.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man, pulling out all the classics.
There's parts of it that look pretty sick, and then there's other parts of it where it's like, this is going to be very not good.
Welcome to 2019. Well, cool. I'm excited about that. When is that supposed to come out?
I don't know. Maybe fall. I'm not sure. You know what I'm excited about right now is that one of our viewers over here, Johnny, said that Brandon Routh is playing Kingdom Come Superman on the CW.
Oh, really?
I don't think he's old enough to do that because Kingdom Come Superman's like old man Superman.
Hey, man, but, CGI.
He was actually... Oh, yeah, Data's back, too. I forgot about that.
Oh.
Brent Spiner.
He's so good. He's so good. Can we just get more Deep Space Nine now? Can we, please?
I don't know. After we watched that documentary and they wrote that first episode, I'm like, I don't know if I would want to watch the rest of that.
How about we just get like Deep Space 8 or 10 or just another one? I just think I just like the concept. Like, put it in a space station. I thought it was cooler that way. On a different. Hey, actually, can we just get a Ferengi show?
No one wants that. But
I want a Ferengi show. Like, it needs.
Can we get a Klingon show?
No, can we get like an animated 30-minute episode Ferengi show where it's instead of like Bob's Burgers, it's like Bleep Blops Goober Schnops, and it's just this like
they're just eating beetles and like
and it takes place in
talking about Latin,
or just get a Quark's animated series where it's just like shit that happens at Quark's bar.
I would watch that.
That would be awesome.
I would watch that.
And,
what's the name of that one big guy that just sits there and drinks all the time?
Morn.
Yeah.
Which is Norm backwards because it's based off the character from Cheers.
Nice.
Anyway, yeah.
But also, let's get a Klingon series where it's like a samurai action epic in space.
Dude, that would be awesome too. I'd be about it.
See, sick.
Anyway, so yeah, Picard coming out. But anyway, this week in theaters, the only movie that's coming out is Once Upon a Time in Mexico. Everything else is pretty limited release in Mexico. I don't know. That's a different movie. That is the sequel to Desperado, and it is not very good.
No.
Desperado is great, which is a reboot of an earlier film.
It was a sequel.
Was it a sequel to El Mariachi? Yeah, okay, so it was a sequel to El Mariachi, which is a Spanish language film.
That's why at the end of Desperado, the mariachi shows up with their guitar cases.
Yeah.
And the dude does that like anime stance thing.
With the splits, and he has the rocket launcher, and it goes...
Yeah, and every time he shoots
Enrique Iglesias?
I don't know. But every time he shoots it, he has to like spin and whirl it around and then stick one leg all the way out and the other leg bending the wrong way underneath him, and he like launches it. Yeah, it's nothing but anime pose rocket launches.
If you've never seen a mariachi, like that is, oh dude, it's so good. It's so Desperado's good too.
Desperado's good.
It's so good. Antonio Banderas is too sexy. Too sexy. Anyway, so all right, that's what's coming out in theaters this week. So let's talk about movies that are in theaters now. So we need to get moving because we're hitting our hour mark. So we gotta start wrapping it up. So I saw it in 25 years ago. I saw The Lion King in theaters, so I feel like I'm qualified to at least talk about the Lion King movie.
Yeah, you definitely are.
So the Grip went and saw the live action.
CG.
Everybody's calling it live action, but yes, CG.
Dude,
Lion King.
Let's talk about Lion King. 25 years ago, Lion King came out in the middle of the Disney Renaissance. You're talking 89 to 99. Little Mermaid, Rescuers Down Under, Aladdin, Hunchback of Notre Dame, Pocahontas. What else was in this thing? Aladdin. Hercules, like all of these movies.
Hercules.
That was the Disney Renaissance, and The Lion King was the peak.
You know what's funny is
Mulan.
Disney was so on top of its animation game that Hercules, when it came out, people were like, it's not really that great. And then you go back and you watch it now, it's like Hercules is amazing.
Who didn't recognize that it was great?
No,
James Woods is.
But at the time, that was like their low game, and we look back on that.
Hunchback was the one that was like they're like.
Well, they didn't realize it at the time. But dude, Hercules, I had the biggest crush on Meg for like ever.
Right. But Lion King was at the and you had like the soul singers on the vases.
On the vases, they're like, "Let me tell you what happens next."
But Lion King was at the peak of this. Lion King is the highest grossing 2D animated film ever made, ever. And you know why? Because when you think Lion King, it's timeless, right? It's not just because it's Hamlet and it's existed for hundreds of years, but because it takes place with an African setting and animals, and it could take place at any time. It could be 5,000 years ago. It could be 100 years from now, pending that none of these animals go extinct because Yeah, they will.
Thanks, Trump.
But the thing is, it's timeless, and not just that, because when you watch it, it's entertaining. You have characters that you immediately associate with. You have music that draws you in. Every song in The Lion King was an absolute banger, right? Like.
I'm sorry, I'm just laughing at Johnny Dalton's comment from YouTube. He goes, Lion King was just a ripoff of Black Panther. And I just thought...
Black Panther was the live-action Lion King because it was the exact same story told again, just another Hamlet movie. But so...
Hakuna Matata. Like, I still say that to this day. People are just like, what are you doing? And I'm like, Hakuna Matata, bro.
People probably think you're really lame. But
not anymore. I mean, I think that already happened.
Every song in Lion King was just something that you would bump, man. Like Circle of Life, who wasn't about that? You just yelled the whole High Sylvania thing. You got that. You got Be Prepared, where Jeremy Irons was just like killing it as Scar, and you're like, yeah, this movie rules. And you have the hyenas singing. You have I Just Can't Wait to Be King, where JTT's stand-in singer, because he probably wasn't the one singing for that, but they just nail it. You're like, yeah, this movie rules, right? Hakuna Matata, you got the whole thing going. Nathan Lane killing it.
Yeah, Nathan Lane and Ernie Sabella
Right.
just rocking it out.
So you have
Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Yeah, dude. And then as they sing Hakuna Matata, it turns in to Matthew Broderick, and it's just the best, right? Everyone loves Lion King, and that's what you're expecting when you walk into this, the 3D Lion King, because it's the highest grossing 2D movie of all time. It's the height of the Disney Renaissance. It is like the Lion King. It inspired a musical that just copied the movie and won 6 Tonys by doing that. It's amazing. It has another musical. It had 2 straight-to-video DVDs that were actually moderately successful. There was a TV show and 2 made-for-TV movies. It's worldwide. It's everything. And then you watch this movie,
and you're going to forget about it in 2 months.
It's not. The 3D version of it is they try to do a shot-for-shot remake of the movie, but they edit out everything that you would care about.
Good.
Yeah, anything that was good, anything that was
scary,
funny. It has
funny.
30 minutes extra runtime for the CG movie, but somehow tells less of the story. You get less of the characters. All of the songs are flat and not entertaining. So I went with someone.
Wasn't Beyonce in this?
Beyonce's song was the worst one. Beyonce's singing was not good. Everyone in the theater went... And
actually, you're not the only person I've heard say this.
No, and we were like, how does Beyonce's song end up being the worst one?
Because she's Beyonce,
the only
man.
singer in the entire movie. Billy Eichner is over the top and obnoxious and terrible. Seth Rogen has no range in his voice acting. Donald Glover was a poor choice, and they put him on there for name recognition.
He's no Matthew Broderick.
The kid that played Simba had no emotion. No one had anything to him, and James Earl Jones was too old for his voice to carry the weight that it did with the impact that it once had. And there was nothing in this movie that made you feel anything. It was flat. It was drab. It was boring. And all of the songs were re-recorded, and they sound bad. Because if you're going to do a fucking musical, nail the music. That's the one thing.
Criteria.
And the Be Prepared song, the one that Jeremy Irons kills, and the hyenas are all there, and it's like this big like Nazi march musical number, but it's awesome and it's evil, and you're just like, these guys are serious, and you're like, look at this like mountain rise and this gas explode and these hyenas and everything. They cut that whole song out. They relegate it to like a 35-second non-dancing.
They had 30 extra minutes.
30 extra minutes. Where did it go? It's nowhere. Rafiki had no character and hardly any speaking lines. You got nothing out of it. All of the impactful moments with like Pumbaa or Simba or anybody aren't there. And hardly anyone has any character or drive or impact. And it was difficult to sit through. And the main thing was that Favreau tried to recreate just a shot for shot, and I think he wanted to attempt to focus on look at what CG can do, but it doesn't help because
and it didn't help the Jungle Book either.
No, well that's it. Nala looks so fake. Her face movement is poor.
I can't. I remember who somebody online said that it was pretty sad when 30 years ago, Jim Henson Studios had better animatronic lions than what the CGI looked like.
And you know where
movie.
Part of that 30 minutes went is that they put all of these extra animals into like the oasis that Timon and Pumbaa and Simba live in. So there's like a fennec fox, and there are sika deer, and like a weird little lemur, and they all are voiced by someone famous for 2 seconds. They have Phil Lamar. We're talking about DC animated Phil Lamar, voice of the Green Lantern. Cast member of Mad TV, one of the best voice acting talents there is, absolutely wasted on a single one-line character that you see for 2 seconds.
It was a cameo. It was just like,
right.
Look who we got.
Keegan-Michael Key, another great voice actor. Yeah, not really there. But they dedicate a majority of that 30 minutes to making Nala some sort of like ninja sneak to get away from Scar, and all this story time that wasn't telling story. If you like The Lion King, don't watch this, man.
So if you've never seen The Lion King,
no, you're still gonna hate it.
Really?
All of the voice acting, there's no quality to the voice acting. There's no quality to the music, and it's not just me being like, oh, I remember this.
No, I've read a
and
lot
like
of-
I have nostalgia. I don't have nostalgia for Lion King. You know, I'm not like crazy big on it. I played the video game. It made me hate it forever. You know what I'm saying? But there was no quality to this, and I think a lot of that has to do with that the voice acting either lacked talent in the areas of people like Donald Glover or the kid that played Simba or the guy that did the voice of Scar, or it had poor directing for the ones that do have talent in voice acting, like Seth Rogen or there's someone else in it, like John Oliver or something like that. People who do have voice acting talent did not have good direction, and the people that needed that the most were the ones that didn't have any voice acting talent, so it all falls apart very quickly.
That reminds me of an interview I watched with Mark Hamill recently after, when Child's Play was in theaters, and people were talking about him in his long career in voice acting. And he was talking about all the great voice actors, and this is a problem that voice actors have experienced, and it's getting worse and worse of a problem for very, very talented voice actors, is we cast people like Donald Glover. Well, the producers cast people like Donald Glover not because he's talented at immersing us into a character with his voice alone, but they go, we're going to cast Donald Glover because he's really popular right now and people will recognize his voice, and then we're going to sell tickets. And the problem with something like translating something like The Lion King to this with popular, well-known voices like John Oliver, like Keegan-Michael Key, like Donald Glover, like Eric Andre, who are household names, and you go, oh, we're going to get these people because they're funny. It's like, no, get these voice actors. Like the original Lion King, all of these people were acting to create these characters.
Right. You don't think of Simba as Matthew Broderick.
No.
He's Simba. You don't think of Timon as Nathan Lane. He's Nathan Lane. You don't think of Scar as Jeremy Irons. That's because they brought the characters to life, and they don't do that in this movie. And all of their voice acting is flat, and it was
because they're being themselves,
right,
instead of being these characters.
And they cast people in roles like Rafiki. They got John Connie, who played Black Panther's dad in the live-action Black Panther movie and the Avengers movie, and he's actually like African, right?
Mm-hmm.
And instead of presenting him there and getting that authenticity or anything, they cut all of his lines short because I don't think he has the acting talent to carry a voice,
right.
And they found that out after casting him.
Because he's visually like just stunning to see on screen.
And he's a good actor.
He's a great actor,
but voice acting is different.
It's such a different skill set. And like I was saying with that Mark Hamill interview, he was just talking about how he even though it's Mark Hamill and he's freaking Luke Skywalker, but when he approaches a role, it's not about being Mark Hamill. It's like, how can he develop his range of voice to find the character's voice that's not Mark Hamill. That's why the Joker is such an iconic one of his. Like when you listen to that and you don't know it's Mark Hamill, you're like, wait, that's Luke Skywalker? And that gets people to this day when I'm just like, hey, have you ever watched Batman the Animated Series? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, I love the Joker. It was the best Mark Hamill. And they're like, wait, Skywalker Mark Hamill? It's like, yeah, that's the guy that did the voice. It's like, no way. And that's it's an amazing skill that not every actor can be a voice actor. It's like there was a turning point in animation, and I usually like to kind of call Kung Fu Panda out on this one because it did it the worst, where they're getting big name actors like Jack Black, who was at the top of his game when that movie came out, and instead of creating a character and then casting him to be the voice of it, they said, okay, we want Jack Black to be in this movie about like a Kung Fu Panda, so we're going to animate this Kung Fu Panda to kind of have the traits and characteristics of Jack Black, the idea that everyone has of him as a person, like his larger than life celebrity persona. And so Kung Fu Panda is basically like an animated Jack Black, not Jack Black doing the voice of this character. And I think that's where movies like this Lion King start to fall short, is because these people aren't voice actors, and voice actors are a different breed.
No, and I went with someone where we've seen some of the other ones like Aladdin and things like that came back in the theater, and people like that, and she liked Aladdin and everything too. I did not, but this one, I was like, this is not good. It's bad, and we like as much as I hate people like being on their phones or talking in this movie. There was nothing about this movie that made me want to get up and tell anyone to get off their phone or stop talking, because one, I've seen it before, and two, there was nothing new that this one was bringing except for a Nala sneaking off of Pride Rock away from Scar scene that was unnecessary to any part of the story. So it was quite a letdown, and yeah, I think if they would have nailed the music, or just offered, if Favreau would have offered a little bit better directing to the vocal talent, it could have at least not been such a disappointment. But instead, it's just it absolutely fell apart, and it was flat and lifeless, just not there at all.
Boo.
In the comments, Vince says that in the Disney Renaissance 89 to 99 that I missed Toy Story and Cool Runnings. Toy Story was a Pixar movie with a Disney name slapped on there, I think for distribution only, wasn't
Which
it?
movie?
So they got their name on there, Toy Story.
Oh yeah, that was Pixar.
Yeah, it was. Disney did not write it. Disney did not animate it. They didn't offer any of the characters. That was all in-house Pixar, and that was early on in the Disney-Pixar relationship, before Disney
Bought 'em out.
had any influence on it other than some production or distribution.
Well, it was like when Disney did the re-release of a lot of those Miyazaki films on DVD.
Right. It has nothing to do with Disney. And then Johnny saying something about the lion sleeps tonight scene. That's one of the things in the movie. In the animated movie, you see a relationship between Simba and Rafiki, and it's like fun, and it makes Simba realize stuff. You see between Simba and Nala how they actually kind of come together. Timon and Pumbaa and Simba. You see all these relationships. None of these are present in that movie at all. There's passing conversation, and then it whisks you up, and it's like, oh, also they're dedicated to each other for life just because of this reason. It was very poor, and none of the characters had any weight to them because the voices were just absolutely lacking.
That's a bummer.
I think if they would have done the movie without voices at all, just as a like fake nature documentary, it
Or
might
like
have
a
been better.
Clan of the Cave Bear sort of.
Yeah, like
you know.
no talking, just like their actions express the story. Yeah, I think it would have been better.
Like
done that
Disney
way.
Nature presents The Lion King.
Right. Yeah, I think it would have been a lot better if they would have done it this way. Some of the visuals were really good. Like Mufasa looked like a real lion. The gait of the cubs, like the way they walked, was pretty realistic, but I think that's what they wanted you to focus on, and then they failed in other aspects, like the way that Nala's face worked, and it was just not visually stunning. So the whole point of this movie, I think, was the visual impact, and that is all.
Here's my deal with Disney.
There's distractions that take that away because of the failings within that.
I think that Disney now they're on track to make $9 billion with a B $billion in movie ticket sales.
Cool Runnings wasn't animated is the only thing about that, Vince.
No. But they're on track to make $9 billion this year from their films. Films alone, $9 billion from films alone. For those of you
in one calendar
in
year,
1 year,
and right, we're only in July.
Yeah, for those of you in the back row, films alone, not merchandise, not movie, theme parks, not
Musicals
TVs, not ABC Network, just movies. So what they need to do with that $9 billion,
that's just theatrical releases too,
that
not
is
like
just theatrical release. Yeah, the theatrical only. What they need to do is they're always complaining that the reason that they don't do hand-drawn animation anymore is because it's labor-intensive and it's cost ineffective, which is all
Have
very
you ever
true.
seen anime?
Well, exactly. But it's expensive.
Well, but then again, I did read a whole thing about how anime artists are paid like next to nothing.
Right. And to do that on a scale like Disney, it's hard. But they've got $9 billion. So give us $200 million of it, okay? $200 million of your $9 billion. You've still got $8.7 billion left.
How is it that they can say that it's too expensive like that when the budgets for their movies
are getting into the $500 million range?
250, 300 million for their budget on their films.
And
what's the budget on Mulan right now?
Who cares? But what I'm saying is Mulan is not pencil and paper. I don't need to draw with some drawing. Can we get some pencils on some paper? And bring back the Disney classics. And
you know what? Doing it this way with the CG and trying to be realistic with it zaps any of the actual comedy from it. And they tried to replace it with Billy Eichner in this because they're like, oh, Nathan Lane. People love him as Timon. Let's not get him again. But let's keep that flamboyant.
This guy who's still super alive.
Let's keep that flamboyant gay there because that's how Timon has to be. Not that was just Nathan Lane being Nathan Lane and his voice and bringing that character to life, but they're like, oh, let's take these aspects about Nathan Lane that aren't necessarily the best parts that should be associated with him, and then find who just cranks those up even more. Billy Eichner, the guy that screams at people for $1 on the streets, and everyone hates, and he's always the worst part of any TV show. Let's put him in this movie paired with Seth Rogen, and let's give Seth Rogen no vocal direction because he's actually talented, and let's take that away from him. So
but they need to just sit down in your Disney think tank and with all that money that you've got and say, you know what? Let's come up with this generation's animated masterpiece. Let's make a timeless, let's just come up with a story that is just so engaging. Well, let's not pander to what ethnicity hasn't had a Disney princess yet. Whatever we haven't done. Let's table all that and let's come up with a tale that everyone can get behind. Let's make them aliens. Let's just make them aliens. Let's do an alien one so we're not dealing with the problems of planet Earth. Okay. And so have them have 6 eyes because guess what? You know, everybody's like, I like characters that look like me. Well, he's got this person, this unisex creature has 6 eyes. Guess what? You don't. Nobody does. Deal with it. We're not talking about if they look like me. We're talking about the story. And sit down and make something timeless again because Disney hasn't done that in forever. You think that just because Lion King made $183 million this weekend, which is insane, that we're going to even give a shit about it next year?
Yeah.
No.
I think with the quality of that movie, though, that initial hype is definitely going to bleed off pretty quick because movies like Aladdin, I mean, they have... It's not great. I did not like Aladdin. You can see my review of that movie back in the episodes. But at least there was some effort attempted to be put into the production value of some of the music and things like that. But The Lion King, did you see Highway 112 at the drive-in theater?
It's Toy Story and Lion King, isn't it? Back to back.
But were you there when people were trying to go there?
No.
It was at capacity all weekend, and they had a half-mile line in one direction attempting to still get into the drive-in to watch.
Crap.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean it works. The formula works. They're cutting. They don't have to spend money on the creative, like Vince said on their YouTube comments here in the chat, which you can join into if you go to our YouTube.com/DriveInSpeakerbox or on Facebook. It all links together. Facebook.com/DriveInSpeakerbox. But he said, why do that when not doing what they should has been so profitable? Mm-hmm. They have no incentive to be good, which is absolutely true.
They're being rewarded for.
That's one of the reasons I didn't go see Lion King, because I've seen it,
product,
and I don't want to give it any money. I really don't want to give it any money.
If I wasn't on the show, then I would not.
And I'm glad that you did. I'm glad that you did, so we could have something to talk about. But it's one of those things that I just didn't want to contribute to the machine, because when you do, that's how they succeed. That's how the terrorists work.
Yeah, we actually have a super cool Hindi language Bollywood movie that's in our local theater right now, Super 30, and I think sometime during the middle of the week I'm going to try to find time to go watch that.
I also noticed that we've got the limited release film, The Art of Self-Defense, which is only playing in Rogers here in Northwest Arkansas. I didn't have a chance to make it out towards Rogers, but I'm going to try and check that out this week as well. So yeah, we'll probably be catching those. Probably Once Upon a Time in Mexico.
Yeah. No,
in Hollywood.
I own that on DVD. It's part of my mariachi trilogy set. Yeah. I only watched it the one time.
It's not good. Johnny Depp wasn't good.
But yeah, I have no interest in watching a Charles Manson movie. So
yeah. Well, all right. Well, let's do the box office roundup and then end the show because we got to get moseying up on that road. So we're going to give you the box office for July 19th through 21st, 2019. We're going to start with number 10. Going to work our way up to number 1. Going to tell you what made money. And these are all domestic numbers. For those of you that don't know, that means here in the U.S. of A. because that's what they measure everything on, and anything else is just gravy. So we'll start with number 10.
We're the most movie-watchingest people.
Movie-watchingest. This side of the Mississippi. Number 10. Secret Lives of Pets, number 2, from Universal, bringing in $1.5 million, dropping pretty dramatically from last week. $80 million budget in 7 weeks has brought it in $151 million nationwide. This will be your last week to check out this movie. I'm pretty sure it's going to be leaving this week. Let's see, number 9, Midsummer from A24, bringing in another $1.5 million in its third week in release, bringing it up to $22 million. They're the sequel, or not sequel, but the next film from Ari Aster directed the film Hereditary, which we've reviewed both on the show. So if you want to rewind some previous episodes, you can check that out. Number 8, Annabelle Comes Home from Warner Brothers, bringing in another $2.6 million in its fourth weekend, bringing some crazy whopping $66 million at the box office in 4 weeks. But we're going to get more of those forever. Number 7, Aladdin, in 9 strong weeks out there from Buena Vista, bringing in another $4 million into the Disney coffers. $183 million budget has brought it in $340 million domestically, so doing very well. Number 6, Stuber from Fox. If you want to catch our review on that, you can tune into our last week's podcast. It brought in $4.1 million up against its budget of I don't have the budget. Never mind. 2 weekends out, it's brought in on only $16 million at the box office. I think a little lighter than they were hoping there on Fox. Number 5, Yesterday, still kind of holding its place. $5 million take this week in its fourth week in release. $26 million budget on this one has brought in $57 million at the box office. Thanks, Beatles. And to
Yesterday was okay, man.
Yeah, we let's see.
I reviewed that
2-3 weeks ago.
Yep.
Yeah, 3 or 4 weeks ago on this show. You can check out our review of that. And it'll say it in the name. It'll say it in the title.
Vince, Aladdin has been in theaters forever. It's been in there for 9 weeks.
Yeah, that's
over 2 months.
Over 2 months.
Yeah.
Let's see, number 4 in its second week in release, Crawl. I almost saw that this weekend, but
I've heard nothing but good things.
Same.
Like,
and
everyone's like, dude, actually, it's pretty sweet.
And so I have a feeling that it's going to have a strong next weekend as well, because these reviews are coming out and they increasingly are just saying nothing but good things. Brought in $6 million this week in its second release. $13 million budget brought it in $23.9 at the box office. So doing all right. Number 3, Toy Story 4, bring in $15.5 million more to the Disney coffers in its fifth week in release. $376 million over there for American dollars for Disney. Let's see, man, it's made 3, 6, 7. Wait. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17.
Are you going to count all the way to the hundreds of millions of dollars?
Yeah, I mean, Disney right now has just the movies that are in theaters currently that you can see. Disney has made almost $2 billion of shit that's right like now. You can see it. And Disney has taken $2 billion away from you that you could be spent on, like, I don't know, education or roads or something.
Just in the top 11 movies in the country?
Just in the top 11 movies in the country. Yeah. That's how it rolls. That's why we don't get good things anymore. Number 2, Spider-Man Far From Home, bringing in $21 million over to the Sony coffers with a partnership with Marvel. And it needs to make $1 billion before Marvel decides to relinquish control. That was the deal that they made with Sony. And let's take a look at that. It has made $970 million at the box office, so probably going to hit that billion mark. So the next Spider-Man movie will be Marvel controlled again if it gets $40 more million worldwide, which it is probably on track to do.
Well, what does that mean for my the Spider-Man video game sequel that I want on PlayStation, though?
I don't know.
Because that game is good.
I mean, I think this is just movie rights. For the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
It was a PlayStation exclusive because Sony got those Spider-Man rights.
And then the number one movie in America, Lion King. Disney bringing $191 million in its opening long weekend there, just crushing it.
Did they open early?
I think it was like a Wednesday opening.
Are you sure?
I think it was $183 million just the Thursday, Friday, Saturday. But I think they got
because it wasn't like Spider-Man with like Monday afternoon.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, look at our weekend gross, $500 billion.
Breaking records.
Yeah.
Broken records.
Yeah, compared to movies that were opened on Friday like they're supposed to.
Right.
We opened on Monday. We were only in theaters for 3 times as long, but our weekends
broken
killed
records,
it.
man. But anyway, all right, well, that's it. That's all for us. That's our show. Thanks for tuning in. I, of course, am the boom operator.
I'm the grip.
And we will see you guys in another week. We're going to be talking about those movies that we talked about earlier. Next week, we're going to go check them out. We hope you like and subscribe down here on all our social medias. Tell your friends. Help spread the word of the old podcast here because we like doing it. We want to keep doing it, and we want to keep the quality high and spread the word. Download the podcast. Share it. If you don't want to watch our goofy mugs, you can only listen to our goofy voices. And on the go. So we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe, share, blah, blah, blah. Don't see Lion King or Avengers. Bye.